Sit and listen, wanderer, for you ask what few dare to ask, and the question itself becomes the doorway. If reality is an illusion, what are we missing? Hear my words, as a river without banks, a wind without breaks. The world you know appears solid, but solidity is the first dream. You touch a stone and believe it unchanging. You see a mountain and believe it eternal. You feel your body and believe it is you. Yet the stone is a dance of arising and ceasing, the mountain a wave frozen between countless moments, the body a weaving of elements that belong to no one. Because the senses report their fragments, you mistake the fragments for truth. Because the mind stitches its stories, you mistake the stories for the world. Because memory arranges its patterns, you mistake the patterns for a self. All beings fall into this enchantment, as moths fly toward a fire thinking it is the moon. The illusion is not merely what you see. The illusion is the one who sees. The self you cling to is the most persuasive mirage of all, a shadow cast by craving and fear. You believe there is an I sitting here, listening, hoping, seeking, but look closely and you will find only sensations flickering, thoughts fading, emotions rising like mist at dawn and dissolving just as softly. What you call I is a story told by many voices, a song with no singer. If you see this, the illusion begins to loosen, not by force, but by clarity. You ask what you are missing. You are missing impermanence, the great truth that everything changes before you can grasp it. You are missing interdependence, the great truth that nothing stands alone and nothing belongs to anyone. You are missing emptiness, the great truth that everything is without fixed essence, free to become, free to vanish. You are missing the sky behind the clouds. You are missing the ocean beneath the waves. You are missing the awareness in which the illusion itself appears. Do not think the illusion is evil. It is simply incomplete. A dream is not false because it fades, only because you cling to it as though it could last. When you cling, the dream becomes a cage. When you do not cling, the dream becomes a teaching. The world is appearance, yes, but appearance is not deception unless you demand that it be stable. A rainbow does not lie. It simply does not remain. A reflection in water does not cheat. It simply cannot be held. So too with all things. When you stop demanding from the world what it cannot give permanence, solidity, a fixed self, you begin to see it clearly. And what is clarity? It is the quiet, knowing that everything is movement. Clarity is the seeing that does not grasp. Clarity is the hearing that does not judge. Clarity is the touching that does not cling. In this clarity, the illusion becomes luminous rather than binding. You begin to walk through life as one who understands the nature of the dream. You feel joy without being intoxicated by it. You feel sorrow without being destroyed by it. You act without being chained by actions. You love without the fear of losing what can never be possessed. What are you missing? You are missing the vastness in which your thoughts arise. You are missing the silence beneath every breath. You are missing the simple truth that the one who suffers is only a misunderstanding. There is no self to imprison, only clinging that builds the walls. There is no self to liberate, only ignorance to dissolve. See the world as a painting drawn new in every instant, and see that the painter is not separate from the painting. See that each moment is born from countless causes, and none of them belong to you. See that you cannot step into the same river twice, because both you and the river have already changed. To awaken is not to escape the illusion, but to recognize its nature. A mirage does not need to disappear for you to stop chasing it. A dream does not need to end for you to know you are dreaming. When you know this, the dream becomes light. And when the dream becomes light, compassion flows easily, for you no longer cling to the idea that you are separate from those who suffer. You see that all beings wander in the same mist, longing for what cannot last, running from what cannot be avoided, searching for a self that was never there. And your heart becomes spacious, like the sky holding all clouds without preference. Do not seek what is real by rejecting the world, for the world is the very mirror in which truth reflects. Do not seek awakening by abandoning experience, for experience is the field in which wisdom grows. What is real is not hidden, only overlooked. Stop searching with the restless mind and begin to look with the still mind. When the mind is still, illusion reveals its edges. When illusion reveals its edges, truth shines through like light through a thin veil. And what is that truth? Not a thing, not an idea, not an object to grasp. It is the simple, boundless awareness in which all things come and go. It is the knowing that knows itself. It is the presence that persists, even as the world changes. This wanderer is what you are missing. Not another piece of knowledge, but the open space beyond knowledge. Not another explanation, but the silence in which explanations dissolve. Not another identity, but freedom from identity. The illusion is the world you cling to. The truth is the awareness that sees the clinging. Awaken to that awareness, and the question itself falls away like a leaf released by an autumn wind. And if you listen more deeply, wanderer, you may notice that even now the mind tries to grasp these words, to shape them into a doctrine, to store them as knowledge. But understand this well. Truth is not a possession. To hold it is to lose it. These words are not stones to build another prison. They are simply ripples on the surface, pointing toward what cannot be spoken. The mind wants to say, I understand, but understanding is not the end. Understanding is only the beginning of seeing. Seeing is only the beginning of being free. Freedom is not something added to you. It is what remains when you stop clinging to what you are not. So hear me as one hears distant thunder present, but not demanding to be grasped. You ask, if this world is illusion, why does it feel so real? It feels real because you taste it with craving. It feels real because you touch it with fear. It feels real because you wrap it around the imagined self and call it your life. Yet a dream also feels real to the dreamer until the moment he wakes. Consider this. When you wake from a nighttime dream, you do not blame the dream for being vivid. You simply recognize that it was a creation of the mind. In the same way, awakening in this life is not an escape, but a recognition. You do not reject the world, you simply see its nature. And when you see its nature, you stop demanding permanence from impermanent things. You stop demanding satisfaction from what cannot satisfy. You stop demanding identity from what is not you. Then peace arises naturally, like a lotus, blooming without effort, in a pond, untouched by storms. Many wanderers ask, if there is no self, who awakens? But this question is like asking, if a flame is only fuel and heat, awakening is not something a self achieves. Awakening is the fading of the illusion that there ever was a separate self. Just as a mirage vanishes not because you destroy it, but because you understand it, so too the sense of self dissolves in clear seeing. Nothing is lost. Only confusion fades. What remains is simple presence. Silent, luminous, without boundary. You may fear that without the self, the world will lose its meaning, but the opposite is true. When the self falls away, the world becomes vivid, immediate, intimate. You taste food, not through desire, but through wonder. You speak not through ego, but through compassion. You listen not through judgment, but through openness. You live not as someone walking through the world, but as the world expressing itself in human form. This is what you are missing: the directness of existence, unfiltered by grasping. Life lived without the self's constant commentary is like a clear mirror reflecting all things, distorting none. And in that clarity you discover a tenderness that was always present, a compassion that does not need effort, a love that does not need an object. For when the sense of separation dissolves, there is no longer a boundary between your suffering and the suffering of others, between your joy and the joy of others. All beings become like waves of the same ocean, unique in shape, yet inseparable in essence. And when you see this, your actions naturally align with wisdom. You do not harm because there is no other to harm. You do not cling because there is nothing to defend. You do not fear because there is nothing separate that can be lost. The illusion of reality collapses not into emptiness, but into unity. And that unity is not something mystical or distant. It is as close as your next breath, as near as your own awareness. To awaken is simply to recognize what has always been true. The world does not need to change. Only your seeing does. So sit with this wanderer, as the sun sits with the horizon, touching, yet not attached. Let the mind soften. Let the breath reveal itself. Let the illusion shimmer without trying to hold it still. When the grip loosens, the heart will open. When the heart opens, the illusion will lose its power. When the illusion loses its power, truth will shine by its own nature. And you will discover that what you were missing has been here all along, waiting for you to stop searching outside and start listening within, where the quiet voice says, "You are not the illusion. You are the space in which illusion passes." And in that recognition, wanderer, awakening begins.